We often hear the phrase, "there ought to be a law." It sounds simple. You write it down, people vote on it, and it happens. But the reality of the American government is something far more brutal. We're looking at the US Capitol. It isn't just a building. It is a machine designed to kill legislation. The process of transforming an idea into a federal law is intentionally designed to be difficult. It is slow, deliberate, and highly selective. Think of it as a legislative obstacle course. Every year, thousands of hopeful bills enter this arena. Most will never see the light of day. In fact, less than 5% of introduced bills actually become law. The rest are buried in committee, talked to death on the floor, or vetoed into oblivion. In this episode, we are going to walk through this gauntlet. We will trace the life cycle of a bill from a spark of an idea to the president's desk if it survives. This is the story of how the sausage is really made. Where does a law actually begin? It doesn't start in the Senate chamber. It starts with a problem. Laws begin as ideas, and those ideas can come from anywhere. Sometimes they bubble up from the grassroots. Citizens write to their representatives with concerns and proposals, demanding change in their communities. Other times, the origin is more organized. Powerful interest groups and lobbyists draft complex legislation to advance their specific causes. They hand-deliver these pre-written bills to sympathetic members of Congress. And of course, there is the executive branch. The president suggests legislative priorities, often outlining them grandly in the annual State of the Union address. Whether it's a pothole in Ohio or a foreign policy crisis, the process starts when Congress members identify a problem that requires a legislative solution. Once an idea is drafted into legal language, it must be formally introduced. But you can't just email it to the government. Only a member of Congress can introduce a bill. In the House of Representatives, this process is surprisingly low-tech. A representative walks to the front of the chamber and drops the physical document into a wooden box known as the hopper. It's a simple gesture that starts a complex chain reaction. In the Senate, the process is slightly more formal. Senators announce their bills on the floor. Once introduced, the bill is given a birth certificate of sorts. It is assigned a number, like H.R. 1 for the House or S1 for the Senate. It now has a name, but it is a long way from becoming a law. After introduction, the bill faces its first and most dangerous hurdle, committee assignment. The Speaker of the House or the Senate Majority Leader assigns the bill to a committee based on its topic. If it's about tanks, it goes to armed services. If it's about schools, it goes to education. But be warned, this is where most bills go to die. Committees receive thousands of proposals every session. They cannot possibly review them all, so they ignore most of them. This practice is called pigeonholing. The bill is simply set aside, never discussed, and never voted on. It dies of neglect. For 90% of legislation, the journey ends right here, in a dusty stack of paper. If a bill is lucky enough to be taken seriously, it moves to the next stage, the subcommittee review. This is the research phase. The large committee breaks into smaller, specialized groups. They don't just guess. They consult experts. They hold formal hearings where witnesses testify for or against the bill. This is where the real digging happens. Once the hearings are over, the bill goes to a markup session. This is exactly what it sounds like. The bill is edited, revised, and rewritten line by line. Subcommittee members negotiate changes, argue over wording, and try to improve or weaken the legislation. It's a messy, technical process of compromise. After the markup is complete, the full committee must make a decision. They have options, but only one leads forward. They can report the bill favorably, This means they send the refined bill to the floor for full chamber consideration. This is the stamp of approval the bill needs to survive. Alternatively, they can report it unfavorably, which is rare, or they can simply continue to pigeonhole it, effectively killing it by doing nothing. If the committee votes yes, the bill graduates. It leaves the small room and prepares for the big stage. But in the House of Representatives, there is one more gatekeeper it must pass. In the House of Representatives, you cannot just walk onto the floor and start talking. You must get past the traffic cop, the House Rules Committee. This acts as a powerful filter. Every bill must pass through this committee before reaching the floor. The Rules Committee creates the boundaries of the fight. They set the debate rules, including strict time limits on how long members can speak. Crucially, they decide whether amendments can be added to the bill or not. This gives the Speaker of the House immense control. By stacking the Rules Committee with loyalists, the Speaker can protect a bill from changes or doom it to failure before debate even begins. Finally, the bill reaches the House floor for debate. With 435 members, this could easily turn into chaos. To prevent that, the rules are incredibly strict. Debate time is limited. You don't get to monologue, you get a few minutes. The Speaker controls who talks and when. And if you want to change the bill, you have to follow the rule of germaneness. This means any amendment you propose must be directly relevant to the bill's topic. You can't attach a law about farming to a bill about highways. The House is a place of structure, speed, and majority rule. Cross the rotunda to the Senate, and you enter a different world. The Senate floor debate is governed by much looser rules. There are only 100 members, so they enjoy a privilege the House does not: unlimited debate time. A senator can speak for as long as they are physically able. Also, the rules on amendments are different. In the Senate, amendments do not have to be relevant. These are called riders. You can attach a completely unrelated pet project to a popular bill to help it pass, or to poison it so it fails. This allows for complex legislative maneuvering that simply isn't possible in the House. Unlimited debate sounds democratic, but it gave birth to the Senate's most famous weapon, the filibuster. This is a tactic used to delay or kill a bill by talking indefinitely. The goal is to wear down the majority until they give up and withdraw the legislation. It is a test of endurance. The record holder is Senator Strom Thurmond. In 1957, he spoke for 24 hours and 18 minutes to block civil rights legislation. He read the phone book. He read recipes. He did anything to keep the floor. As long as he kept talking, no vote could happen. So how do you stop a filibuster? You need a specific weapon called cloture. Cloture is a procedure to forcibly end debate and call for a vote. But it is not easy to invoke. It requires a supermajority of 3/5 of the Senate. That is 60 senators. This rule has fundamentally changed the Senate. Today, you don't just need a simple majority of 51 to pass controversial legislation. You effectively need 60 votes to break a filibuster. The magic number. 60 has become the crucial threshold for getting anything significant done in Washington. When the talking finally stops, it is time to vote. Congress uses 3 main methods. First is the voice vote. Members simply call out aye or no, and the presiding officer decides who sounded louder. This is quick and used for non-controversial measures. Second is the standing vote. Members physically stand up to be counted. It's more formal than shouting, but still lacks a specific record of names. The most definitive method is the roll call vote. In the House, members use electronic buttons. In the Senate, a clerk calls out names one by one. This creates an official record of where every politician stood. To pass, a bill needs 218 votes in the House and 51 in the Senate. Let's say a bill survives the committee, survives the debate, and passes the House. Is it a law? Not even close. Now it must cross over to the other chamber. The bill has to repeat the entire process. It goes back to a committee. It goes back to hearings. It goes back to floor debate. And here is the problem. The second chamber rarely just agrees. They frequently make changes. They add amendments, delete sections, or rewrite the whole thing. Now you have two different versions of the same bill, a House version and a Senate version. And you cannot send two different bills to the president. To fix this mess, Congress forms a conference committee. This is a temporary committee made up of members from both the House and the Senate. Their job is reconciliation. They take the two versions of the bill and try to hammer out a compromise. They must create a single, unified text that both chambers can agree on. This document is called the Conference Report. It is often a mix of both bills, bridging the differences through negotiation. A conference report then returns to both the House and the Senate for final approval. The stakes are high. At this stage, no amendments are allowed. Legislators cannot change a comma. They face a simple up or down vote. Both chambers must pass this identical version. If either chamber votes no, the bill dies after all that work. But if both vote yes, the legislative gauntlet is finally complete. The bill is printed on parchment and sent to the White House. The bill now sits on the president's desk. The chief executive has a choice. Option 1, sign it. The president signs the document and it officially becomes federal law. This is the most common outcome for bills that make it this far. Option 2, veto. The president rejects the bill. He refuses to sign it and returns it to Congress with a note explaining his objections. This is a direct check on legislative power, forcing Congress to rethink or fight back. But the president has two other sneakier options. Option 3 is to do nothing while Congress is in session. If 10 days pass and the president hasn't signed or vetoed, the bill automatically becomes law. This is a passive approval, a way to let a law pass without putting his name on it. Option 4 is the pocket veto. If the president does nothing, but Congress adjourns, goes on break, within those 10 days, the bill dies. It simply vanishes. Because Congress is gone, they cannot override it. It is a powerful tool to kill legislation at the very end of a term. If the president uses a regular veto, the fight isn't necessarily over. Congress can attempt an override. To do this, they need a 2/3 vote in both the House and the Senate. That means 67 senators and 290 representatives. It is an incredibly high bar. Getting 2/3 of politicians to agree on anything is difficult. Historically, veto overrides succeed less than 10% of the time. It is the ultimate test of strength between the branches of government. Throughout this entire process, there is an invisible hand guiding the outcome: political parties. The majority party runs the show. They control every committee assignment and decide the schedule. Party leaders, known as whips, work the floor to ensure members vote along the party line. This system works when one party controls everything. But when we have a divided government, where opposing parties control different chambers or the White House, we get gridlock. Passing laws becomes nearly impossible. The House passes bills the Senate ignores. The president vetoes what the Congress passes. It results in legislative stalemate. As we look back at this tortuous path, you might ask, why? Why make it so hard? The answer is, it was done on purpose. The Founding Fathers didn't want a government that could churn out laws on a whim. They designed an intentionally slow process. They wanted to prevent hasty, emotional, or tyrannical laws from sweeping the nation. The system forces compromise. It forces deliberation. It ensures that only the ideas with broad, sustained support can survive the gauntlet. It is frustrating, yes, but it is the firewall of American democracy.